This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
Empire.
Hey babies. Hey babies and babies. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. What's going on today on a happy Wednesday? What's happening, everybody? What's going on, Callow?
Not too much. Capitals got back in the win column. I'm excited about that.
Yes, sir. Saw Ryan Leonard last night. We'll get to him in a little bit. He actually played. Ovi scored. All is good in the world. I want to start with the new rules. New rules day came out from the NFL, and I got to start with one that actually gets me misty-eyed thinking about it. The chain gang's gone, guys. They're going to be there on the just in case the computer fails, or it says, the ball should be placed 15 yards away from where it should, I guess. Like if it has a total glitch. But they're done being a part of football. The days of them being forced to walk out with the chains to find out if the ball actually got to the first down marker are over. And I'm actually quite upset about the whole thing. It's like, I feel like a part of my childhood is going away from me.
Upset might be a little much.
That's a big one, though.
Nostalgic, sure. But upset, no. It's 2025, playa. We don't need humans and measurements at this point. Let the computers do it.
The humans are still putting the ball down. The human is still in charge of where the ball goes. The computer isn't doing that still. The line judge is still putting the ball where he thinks the ball goes.
Sure, but we've had for 20 years tennis balls have little shadows over to where the line is for measurements in tennis. How has football not started to do this a little more? And we are in the beginnings of it happening now.
I mean, how do you feel about robot umpires? How do you feel about that?
I feel like there's a place for them. I don't know what the exact thing is for them, but I feel like there's going to be some implementation of them at some point. We saw a little bit of it in spring training where guys were calling for balls and strikes and the challenge system is now in place. I feel like we have to hit the happy medium, especially in that sport. The ump is just involved so much that robot umps are going to happen at some point. It's just in what capacity will they have control over the game?
Yeah. So, I don't like them because I actually like human error. I think it's actually part of big time sports. And so, good word for it. This is nostalgic. And actually, they're just supposed to go where they're supposed to go. They're not supposed, none of that has ever felt like, oh, the chain was put in the wrong place. I'm surprised no one's ever accused them of that actually in the past. Now I think about it, where they're like, are you sure that they're exactly where they're supposed to be? No one ever complains about that. The thing that everyone complains about is the human spot. But I do like the humans being forced to run that out there. And then you have that tinge of a moment. Is it going to get there or not? And we've lost that. So they're going to have to, what are they going to do? Hawkeye, where they put up on the big screen and they show you whether he got it or not? That's what they're going to do?
That's what it sounds like. They said it's the same technology that I think it's Sony who owns it or whatever. And that's what it sounds like. And I'm okay with that. Streamline some of this stuff in the games. I'm not complaining that the NFL's too long. Don't get me wrong. I think the NFL is part of the joy of it is the drama that happens from play to play sometimes. Yes. But that's what I don't think we need. And you just flash it up on the screen. Ref or judge puts the ball down. We're good to go. I don't need that element of it.
Okay, let's see. Kickoff moves to the 35 on a touchback now. There's still all these rules, and I got to remind myself of these things because I'm going to be doing them in the fall. If the ball lands outside the 20, that's a penalty. It didn't land in the landing zone. If it lands inside the 20, you have to return it. You can't kneel it down. You've got to bring it out. But if it goes into the end zone now and you don't return it on a touchback, you are giving the team the ball at the 35-yard line minimum. So I think this will do the trick because last year, in the beginning, everybody was doing this kickoff and they were trying things. They tried the dirty ball thing. They were trying all sorts of things just to see what worked, what didn't, all that stuff. And then by the middle of the season, I started noticing a lot of teams were just like, screw it. And they just kicked it into the end zone because they're like, just forget it. Like, what is like, they're going to get the ball 30 either, or it's going to be worse. So I'd rather just give them there. Will this one do the trick? That's a good question. And I think it is very possible that it will, because the analytics are going to show you starting a drive there means a certain amount more points per game or per team. So I actually think this will do what the NFL is asking it to do. Doesn't sound like much, but I think it's going to do what the NFL is asking it to do, which is force more returns. That's what they're trying to get.
Well, yeah, because what has been kind of the concern over the last, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it's not just that there's touchbacks and they're kicking out of the end zone. It's that kickoffs were becoming irrelevant, period, right? Well, this gets them back to
ceremonial play. It's pointless.
Right. So now it's getting it back to a point where it does become relevant. You will have a returner at this point too, because I do think that's a little bit of a lost art. Like, you can talk about this team a little bit where they didn't have a returner for the longest time. I mean, outside of like DeAndre Carter a couple years ago, this team didn't even really care about returner. It was an afterthought because it was just not an important position. I know they did it with Crowder last year, but what I'm getting at is I think a lot of the league went that way too, of like, we don't even really have to worry about this at this point. We just need someone that can catch the ball back there. Maybe this also puts, that kind of dangerous returner back there too.
The Commanders actually ended up being among the highest metric return teams. They had Austin Eckler before he got hurt was fantastic at it. And then Luke McCaffrey ended up being actually pretty good at it when he took over for him after Eckler got the concussion late in the season. And I'm assuming Eckler's going to be one of the two primary kick returners again. We'll have to see. Without Jamison Crowder on the team right now, I don't know who the punt returner is. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see if it's McCaffrey, Eckler, or McCaffrey, someone else, because they don't want Eckler to do. I don't know. We'll have to see what they do with it. But they actually turned out to be pretty good at it on the return part of it. And I felt like last year when they implemented this, I thought it was going to be running backs that were going to end up being pretty good at this, because the difference when you have the guys just streaking down the field and they're covering lanes, the returner's job is to find one cut and go. This is more like a running backs thing. It's going to be a lot messier. There's going to be a lot more bodies, and you've almost got to do the kind of 2-cut go situation with that. Or do something like what Kamante Turpin did, the crazy spin move, and then all of a sudden he's kind of out of it. So I felt like it would be running like speed burners like Turpin, who are just really good at it, or running backs would end up being good at this because they understand this 1-2 cut situation and can be taught how to do it. Now that the ball is going out to the 35, I think it doesn't sound like much, but I actually think it's going to get exactly what the NFL wants, which is a lot more returns. They're putting it back in the game.
Well, and not only that too, like one of the best things they did with kickoffs too is they went ahead and eliminated that commercial break in between the kickoff and the first play, to start off a drive. I think what happens here too is you'll actually see some teams maybe capitalize off some momentum off that as well. That was one of the things that was always a pet peeve of mine, was when a team would score, the kickoff they'd go to a commercial, then the kickoff would happen, then they go to a commercial again. And it was just such a gap in a game. Now it's kind of the flip side. Maybe you can actually get teams that capitalize off that momentum as well off of a big return, and, people back in their seats and all that fun stuff.
I'm surprised this one went this way, but overtime in the regular season now is not if you score a touchdown on the opening drive, it's over. Both teams are getting the ball no matter what, just like the postseason now, and they didn't change the clock. So there's only 10 minutes. Famously, the Commanders nearly ran down the entire one against Atlanta. And I saw Florio say something about this when this came up last week, where he goes, honestly, this is going to add 20 to 30 plays to the whole season. Like, there's only so many overtime games. There's only so many going to happen. This is really it. So it's not a huge burden on the players across the board, unless there's a weird a number of overtime games this year. There's not going to be a ton more plays than were run. At least that's their projection. It won't be a ton more plays. What I was surprised about was the clock part of it. And I'll still go back to, I feel like if you want to change these rules where both teams get the ball and you try to do that in the name of fairness, then the real advantage will be, technically, for the team that gets the ball first to try to do what the Commanders did and use the clock to their advantage the whole way, to force, if they don't score or they do score, either way, to force the other team in a disadvantageous situation. Granted, holding the ball for 7-8 minutes is actually rare. Like that happens maybe once a game, typically doesn't happen all that often. So maybe they're thinking that's unusual, and teams have timeouts and a 2-minute warning, and they can use all that stuff to extend the game as much as possible. But I've felt like all along the real solution here is turn the clock off and just have it count up. So just for statistical purposes, you can say at the 7:36 mark of overtime, blah, 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 1. But if both teams are going to get the ball, and then once they both get the ball, next score wins, then who cares what the clock is? Why even put that in play? That's the way I feel about that.
I will say this, though. What I like about that is the defense still has to get a stop. Like, that's like, I get it. It's the modern NFL. The defense is at a disadvantage. No one cares about defense anymore. Like, it is the difference maker in a lot of games. But at the end of the day, the offense, the league is catered for the offenses, right? So I do like that there is a tinge of like, if your defense is a sieve and can't stop somebody for 10 minutes, then you do relinquish that one possession. I do like that. Like, and it's, as you said, it's going to be rare that happens, but I like it that the Commanders last year would have been rewarded basically for having a long drive to bleed the clock out and then only left the Falcons a minute or whatever it was. Because I do think, like, if you give up a touchdown, I still like that that's a game over situation. But now that that's not going to be a thing, I do like that there's at least a tinge of the defense's responsibility here of something happening. You know what I mean? Because I did like it. Hey, kick a field goal. You know what? That's really not on the defense. It's modern NFL. That happens all the time. Touchdown, though, that's the dagger. Now, the fact that the defense does have to get a stop, and they're not asking much, but if you can't get the stop in those 10 minutes, you do relinquish that possession. I think that's fine. I don't mind.
I do feel like the 10 minutes again is too short for this because, how often is this going to happen? I don't know. But like, what if both teams score and it's tied again?
Yeah.
Well, now the team that got the ball first is going to have a massive advantage because they're going to be able to use the clock and go, we're either winning or it's a tie. That's what's going to happen here. Like, we're either winning and this is why I don't like the clock part of this. Change the rules to whatever you want to make it as fair as you think it would be for both teams, but don't put a time frame on it. Just go, we're going to have a winner. Both teams are going to get the ball, and then if the score is, in one direction after that happens, then the game's over. If they're tied, then next score wins. That's it, period. Sorry. But that's it. This is why I don't like the 10-minute thing. When they said they were pushing for this, I thought they would move it up to 15 because I thought that would be just a little more fair under the scenario by which both teams kick a field goal on their drives. And all of a sudden, there's 2 minutes left, and this other team got the ball. And it's going to be very hard for the team that lost a coin toss to get a chance to ultimately win. So I don't think there's a fair way to do it when you have the clock involved with it. And that's why I thought that they should at least move it up if this is what you're going to do. Or in my opinion, take it away. So that way there will be no ties. Anyway, there will be no ties.
Yeah, no. I mean, I still think the clock should play a factor here. I just don't think the NFL is professional football. I think there's a reason why theirs is a little bit different than college, because then that's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start going the college route and start it on the 20-yard line and see how many points we can get scored all of a sudden. And that I don't like that. That's the path we start going down, in my opinion.
This doesn't seem like a big deal, but I'm going to tell you it is for people like Tressway and others. They're going to let them. I didn't know they didn't do this in the past, but you can't bring your own K-balls to the game. They have to warm them up and break them in before the game. Well, they changed the rules so that the punters and kickers can mess with them for the special teams kicks beforehand and prepare them. And then the referees are going to have to check them and go full Tom Brady Deflategate and make sure that they are compliant when they go into the game. But that means they're going to get to do whatever they want to them. So, who's got the ball in baseball? Phil Niekro, the nail file, whatever they're going to do, watch. The punters, because of this, across the board, are going to have a huge year. Watch. They're going to scuff these things up or do whatever they want to them that's in compliance to make them more comfortable to them, and the punts are going to be bombs this year. Watch. It's going to happen.
I bet you the other side of this is going to be I don't know. I haven't caught enough football. Sorry, I was not a returner in high school, but I'm going to guess here too. There's probably something with the inflation. If you inflate it a little bit more, you can get that bounce off a guy's chest or something where the ball rattles around a little bit. I bet you we're going to see more fumbles on kickoffs and punts too, a little bit too, I think. Just not only from what you said, but from whatever they do inflation or deflation wise, it has to be in a certain range. I bet you we get some of those too.
Yes. Let's see. One other small one was they've added Zooms for the tampering period now. So they're just like,
okay.
I don't even like, there's no, like, it doesn't matter what deadline you put on it. It doesn't matter. People are going to skirt around these rules across the league. And so now it's just an admission of, let's just give some more access to people because people are doing it anyway. So like, can we just do that?
Well,
and that sounds fine to me.
The funniest part for me was like, I remember the league was kicking around like, oh, the legal tampering, like having another period of talking with the teams. And I was like, no, we never had a legal tampering period. Like free agency would open at 12:01 and we'd have the Albert Hainsworth biggest deal ever at 12:01. Everybody's tampering all the time. So yeah, like, I hope they don't like move the date again, what they were talking about, but having Zooms, fine. Instead of an agent, texting a team, we're going to get the players on there, I guess, is pretty much what they're getting at. Is that what I'm following?
Like, yes. All right. How about this one then? Okay. Since everybody's doing it anyway, and then people will beat this deadline anyway. 2 days after the Super Bowl, it's open. You can talk to people. You can't sign anybody for a month. So you can talk to people, but they could change their mind over the next 3 open, and then we'll get the best reporting ever because Schefter and Rappaport are going to go, this guy talked to them. They have a deal set, except someone's stepping in at the last minute because they thought someone else had this deal or that deal, and then everything's going to go haywire for a month. Like all this stuff is kind of done in the background, and all of a sudden 12:01 rolls around, and they start signing people. Well, what if the door was opened right off the gate, but you can't sign anybody officially? You can't sign, you can't even agree to anything officially, then I think that would actually be, for the insiders, amazing. Like it would be absolutely amazing. And honestly, this is probably what's happening around the league anyway.
Probably, but you have to realize the league is so good at like spreading out the offseason that they're not going to ever do that. Because they get what? They get a week out of the Super Bowl still afterwards of, like this week, this year it was, are the Eagles going to be a dynasty with all these players? And is Jalen Hurts the best quarterback in the league now? Or are the Chiefs dead? They get a week or 10 days out of the Super Bowl still. So they're not ever going to move it that close up. And the other side of this too is baseball does this. Baseball, the second the World Series ends, the new league year starts and you can start signing guys if you want. People don't do that, which I find ridiculous, but the new league year starts like that and they don't really take advantage of it. I think the NFL, they are in a sweet spot right now of they take over the offseason. Like there is no offseason.
They do.
Yeah. It's what July is essentially.
There's one dead zone when they finish mini camp before they go to training camp. It's like a month where it's like we're all going away, guys.
Yeah.
Like that's it. We're all going away.
Right.
Yeah.
Except for last year, it was Brandon Ayuk. He was still in the news cycle. So, like, it still didn't even go away. So, I will say to, like, your point, yeah, it would be fun. But the NFL knows that they have such a sweet spot where everything is in the offseason right now that I don't think they want to mess with that.
Last one, and this is the one that didn't happen. The fate of the tush push has been delayed. So, apparently, there are factions that are for it, Eagles obviously, and factions that are against it, Green Bay obviously. I saw Sean McDermott say something about health and safety of it. I saw others say we don't have any real data on whether it causes more injuries. However, we would like to think that it does, and the players involved in it will tell you that is a car wreck. There are others in the faction that are going, hey, I thought it was illegal to push and pull people anyway, so like why aren't we adjudicating that on this play? And that would solve the whole problem there. You can do your crazy leverage move. Jalen Hurts can do a quarterback sneak. You just can't put them. That's all at the line of scrimmage. You can't coordinate to do that. And so I'm surprised they haven't come up with the solution yet, but it sounds like this is the one where everybody's like staked ground and are really seriously having a legitimate argument about the legitimacy of this play and whether it should stay or not.
Well, I think it's an argument around the play itself in terms of what is illegal, what isn't legal. Like, I think there's a legitimate gripe of, and I'm on this faction, of they do a bunch of things. They bend a bunch of rules that factor in on one play. It's the splits of the linemen. It's the neutral zone. It's pushing another player. They do 3 or 4 different things that are a factor on this play that the referees don't call, and that's what pisses me off more than anything. It's that the refs don't call things that they are bending the rules for themselves to. And the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. Like, it's not like you can't tell me it's not working. They just won a championship. So that's where I think it's starting to land here is it's really not about the execution of the play. It's all the things that go into it before and right at the snap as well. I think people are pissed off that the league all of a sudden is just looking the other way, and they're looking over at a team that just won a Super Bowl against the Chiefs. And I understand why people are pissed about it.
The one argument I don't want to hear, because I've heard a lot of this from some people, that they just aesthetically don't like it. I don't care. Like, sorry, I don't like bunts. Okay. I think they're kind of lame, but I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is I think it's a semi-legitimate play. I like how you put it. They've bent the rules. And then there's the pushing of him, which is supposed to be illegal anyway. I don't know how they got around that or why the referees haven't adjudicated that. So I don't know. I think that what's going to end up, they needed to have a talk about it, because apparently this got vicious between all these different sides that were staking claims. At the next meetings, they're going to come around and they're going to say, this is what's illegal about it. But you can't get rid of it, because you basically be getting rid of a quarterback sneak. So you can't literally ban this play. You can only ban an aspect of it. That's really it.
Yeah, but think about it. Like, Tom Brady was the first mastermind that would run up to the line, snap the ball, and run for 1 yard, right? Like, but he didn't have Mike Vrabel pushing him behind him. That was never a part of that play. And so that's where I have a problem with it. I have no problem with the actual play. It is that there are 3 different factors here that go into it that for some reason the refs don't call. Just start calling the things you're supposed to call. I'm not about banning the play. I'm about calling the rules for football. Because there are people, I saw Peter Schrager on with McAfee yesterday, who Schrager, by the way, is with ESPN. I don't know if you knew that. That just happened. But he was on with McAfee yesterday, and he was like, I hate how it looks like rugby. I hate it too, but that's not the problem. My problem is that it's the rules that you're using to execute the play.
The aesthetics of it is not the issue to me.
Yes.
All right, I don't like the aesthetics of an extra point. What do you like? You can complain about that stuff, but it's legal. Technically, it's legal to do it. So what are they going to do about it? I don't know. I think they're going to do something. There's too many people that are too upset. And I would also just say this too. I liked how the Commanders handle it. They were like, we have to think about stopping it. We're not here to advocate for or against the thing, which I think is the right position to take. And that's how I felt about it too. Really, you should stop it. I mean, everyone else can do it. No one else can do it as well as them. So don't punish them for being able to do something better than literally everybody else can do it. I don't think that that's totally fair. So I say, let's try to stop the thing. And I guess that's the bottom line, right? Just stop it. And I'll say this too, it seems to be impossible to stop at this point, but I would bet some point in his career do foot putt, so one of these days, someone's going to he's not going to snap the ball right. They're not getting off the line right. You're going to get a stop against it. They get a little too tricky. Sometimes they pull it back and do a pitch off it. They did it to us last year where they tried to do a pitch off of the thing, at some point, you figure things out. Nothing is perfect and nothing is unstoppable. It's still humans doing this.
No, exactly right. But I do think what's funny is Quinn was like, oh, we're worrying about stopping it. The Commanders were kind of the ones that served this argument up on a platter, though. Here they are in a game. They're getting blown out in the NFC Championship, and a drive that really didn't mean much to them. It was going to be game over regardless. And they decided, Frankie Louvu, do your thing. And he jumps over 4 times or whatever it was.
They made a mockery of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I think. Yeah. That's why I think Quinn is I'm not even going to talk about this, because what we did was bring this to the forefront of just bringing it in as a conversation. And when that happened too, there was a talk of it during the broadcast on TV when they were talking about, oh, well, there's arguments about the splits and the neutral zone, all that. I think the Commanders, they're going with what I'm saying. They're going, we don't care about the play, but they're bending the rules here, and we just want you to start calling that or have a discussion around it, because we're kind of sick of that happening.
Or we're going to send people leaping over your huddle.
That's right.
And if they time it up right, it's not going to be a pretty collision.
Right. Well, and yeah, Frankie Louvu hits Jalen Hurts. We don't know. Jalen Hurts has been injury prone a lot of his career. You know what I mean? Like that's on you at that point. So
a couple of things that I didn't get to yesterday because Dan Quinn spoke early in the morning, so I didn't really get to some of the Adam Peters things that came up. Other than he talked about Terry McLaurin and their goal to keep him long term. There were two other things that really stood out to me that he said the other day that I want to get to here for a moment, which is this. He has admitted there are no talks with Laramie Tunsil as of yet. Tunsil, unlike McLaurin, does have 2 years left on his deal. And if they take the same position that they took with Deebo Samuel, bringing him in, it was, we'll restructure what you have currently, but you're going to play on it. So Deebo's on a 1 year deal. 1 year show me deal. The vast majority of it's guaranteed, but still his next contract is in front of him. So he's going to be motivated to play his best. He's trying to get to the next deal and show that he deserves to get it here or somewhere else, wherever it may be. In Laramie Tunsil's case, they got 2 years left. They got a pretty good number because the dead money's for Houston to deal with. They got a pretty good number with him. I think, Peters is, he openly said, I'm not going to talk about any of this stuff publicly, no matter what, but him saying they haven't had any talks about it. When Tunsil said, when he had his media availability, they know how I feel about that, which is probably like, I'd like to restructure with you, but I have a feeling this one is going to go through the summer. I have a feeling they're not going to restructure with him. They're going to see how it goes. And then when he has 1 year left on his deal, if he looks like Laramie Tunsil of the last 10 years, they will probably do something to lower his cap hit heading into 2026. But that's just my guess.
No, I thought the same thing. Like, you also want to see if it's a fit too. You never know. Like, I know he's a Hall of Fame left tackle, but you also want to make sure he fits in with the offense. I think he'll be fine. Right. He's really, really good, but you never know. We've seen crazier things happen where guys that are studs don't fit in with an offense or a defense. So I think they're going to say, dude, just fit in for the year. We'll talk about it on the other side when you got 1 year left on it.
I would be shocked if he didn't quote unquote fit in. I mean, he's been like best in his position or close to it, for 5, 6, 10 years running. That would be the shock of shocks if he didn't do that. And we're not asking him to play running back, we're asking him to do the same thing he's done. So, sure. But I think they're playing out the string, at least this year on him, and then we'll see what we get to on the other side. I think one thing with Tunsil too, is I think part of the deal though too, was that's a very affordable number. Like that was a part of a good part of the deal is that number wasn't insane that they acquired from him too. So they're also telling him, hey, part of the reason why we gave up all these draft picks is not only because you're good, but because that's a number we can manage for right now too. So I do think that's a factor. That's right. For a year, and then when he has 1 year left, if he plays the way that he's played throughout his career here, he's going to have an argument to get in front of them, and it will be worthwhile for cap room anyway to do it with him. So we'll see how it goes this year with him. The other one that Adam Peters talked about, and I'm glad he was asked about it, I assumed he would be, it's the first time he's talked about him, is Javon Kinlaw. Because that's the one deal that I think people have looked a little cross-eyed at them just because of the money. Like they needed to bring in depth. He's a former first-round pick. Peters knows him. Had they gotten him for a different number, I don't think people would have really thought much of it and just been like, okay, whatever. But because he got $15 million a year, which I need to point out, like Milton Williams got 26. Osa Odigizua got like 18, 19, something like that. Again, John, of course, has been way more consistent than Kinlaw's been. Like the number actually he got is well below what like market value of a really good defensive tackle is at this point. He hasn't proven to get a number like that yet. And this is what I thought when they signed him. They think he's going to outperform the contract, which is what he basically said the other day. Peters, he said his best football's in front of him. He is one of these players. When you see him in training camp, you see him for the first time, you're going to go, oh my God, because he's enormous. So he's like one of these, freakishly talented, fast, huge people. So that's going to stand out immediately when you see him. But the consistency hasn't been there. They believe it was injuries, and they believe that they're going to get him in whatever spot. And I'll be very interested to see how they use him, especially early. Is he on the edge? Is he in a defensive lineman stance? Is he standing up ever? Like, I don't really know. I'm very interested to see how they look at him, because obviously the contract they gave him, they're very bullish that he's going to be a starter, heavy rotational player, an impact player, even if the number is a little below what typically those guys get.
I think Adam Peters said, it was either Peters or Quinn did say he would be playing on the edge a little bit. And I'm starting to feel that edge is basically about to be wide receiver 2. This is about to be by committee, whether it's by a rookie edge rusher, Kinlaw, other D tackles, whatever. the new wide receiver 2 that was last year, where it was by committee, is about to be edge rusher, is pretty much what we're getting at here.
I mean, Deron Payne had moved out to the outside a little bit. Under the last 2 staffs, he did it. They had this lineup last year when John Duran and Johnny Newton were all healthy that they called, I think it was called the Raptor, if I remember, where they had all 3 of them. And they moved Duran out there because he actually showed a little bit of ability out there. Probably, he probably likes it out there. It's a different skill set person he's going up against, mixes things up for them. The second they signed him and they didn't go after Josh Sweat or somebody like that, I think they're thinking about this a little differently than people are. But I agree that edge rusher still could be a high pick for them. So we'll just have to see if that's the direction that they go. All right, let me take a quick break. Ray Boston Show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. All right, welcome back. I ran out of time to get to Micah Parsons, and Jerry Jones basically saying I don't talk to his agent, which I thought was utterly ridiculous. But that actually sounds like it's going in a direction where that's going to get settled, and I'm not surprised. And Dallas is finally getting in front of, before it's too late and have to franchise him and all that stuff, getting in front of this. He was going to get the biggest contract of any defensive player ever, regardless of when it happened. Had he beaten Myles Garrett to it, it probably would have been better for them. So again, This is what you get when you wait with superstars. This is what happened to the Bengals with Chase. It's what happened with Micah Parsons now. The longer you wait, the number just keeps going up. And so Parsons is going to beat it. That's what it looks like. And I did find Jerry funny. Once again, I don't know what's going on with him. He has lost his fastball. To openly state, we don't need to talk to the agent and the agent doesn't matter when the agent is a big, high-profile agent, was like, Jerry, come on, man. What are you doing here?
Not only that, he, insulted him. He's like, I don't even know his agent's name. And it was like, dude, that doesn't help anybody. And then Parsons has to stand up for his guy on Twitter and says, I wouldn't negotiate anything without him. It's like, that was an own goal. And by the way, to your point about Myles Garrett, though, had they gotten this done with Micah Parsons, let's just say at the end of the season, they said, you know what, we want to knock this out right now. Had they been the first one to do it, Parsons would have gotten 32 million a year. I'm convinced of it.
Maybe 35. He would have gotten, yep.
Still, but Crosby got 32, and everybody was like, whoa, that's a new benchmark, right? So I was just saying, they would have made the new benchmark, and then we would have seen what would have happened. And then Garrett got the 40 million, and that's the one where they waited too long, and now they have to pay him more than that.
They did it. Well, I mean, this is, again, not reading the market. They didn't read it with Dak very well. They didn't read it with CeeDee Lamb very well, or they just waited too long. And this is another one. The second Myles Garrett at Radio Row was telling people he wanted to be traded, and everyone knows he's going to get whatever the biggest contract is for a defensive player. They should have immediately engaged with his agent and signed the deal to beat him to whenever he's going to do it, whether it was with Cleveland or anybody else. He was going to get something like that from somebody. And of course, they waited too long. And again, they have lost out on money. They're going to keep the player, but they've lost out on cap room over all of this. All right. Let's get to Maryland. Okay. So yesterday, I read Len Elmore's piece where he said, get a Maryland man in here. And he also said, slow down for a second. Let's find the right person that the boosters want, that the program deserves. Get somebody who bleeds it. We don't need any more mercenary coaches. I wholeheartedly agreed with that. And my whole thing after Willard did what he did was to just say to the people at College Park, take a breath. That was terrible. Let the media and everybody blast this dude for doing what he did. It was ridiculous what he did. Here's an opportunity for you, though, to slow down, get the right AD, get the right GM, get your ducks in order, have a plan of how you're going to attack the modern collegiate landscape with recruiting, paying for, and retaining players. Figure that out, and then go find the Maryland man that you want that bleeds it and is stuck into this system. And if that means next year you're not very good because you kind of got left at the altar by this coach and the AD's already out, then so be it. Eat it, because 1 year in college basketball is not a death sentence anymore. You could turn around and buy players the next year. It could all change overnight by buying players the next year, and you would be ready to do it. And so you suck for a year. Oh, well, but everybody knows what the situation is. What do? They turn around and they hire Buzz Peterson, who, let me start with this.
Buzz Williams.
He's not a bad coach. I'm not upset that they hired him. And this isn't even about him. This is about Maryland doing exactly the opposite of what they should have been doing in the moment, even if they ended up with a very established, very good head coach with a very good resume. Like, I'm not like upset that they hired him. He's a good coach and has been a good coach at 3 different major programs. He'll win here. But is he going to be here long term? Is their colors? Is he going to help them grow? No. And he'll get tired here like he gets tired everywhere else. And frankly, this is a weird setup to want to come into it. Honestly, if I'm him, I don't even know why he wanted this job at this point in time.
Apparently, I was reading up on this yesterday that he had over the last 2 years not pulled a Willard, but had kind of just like hinted that he wanted to go somewhere else and wanted to leave A&M. In those 2 years, A&M wasn't too bad either. Like, he had winning records the last 4 years, had 20 plus wins.
Yeah, he's a good coach. Yes.
And all of those years. And I guess he just didn't like it at Texas A&M at this point. I'm with you. I don't know why he wants to come here. I know he used to be at Virginia Tech. I follow Virginia Tech, and he was a very good coach at Tech. There were some people saying, oh, well, maybe he can recruit the DMV. He actually doesn't. Go look at the Virginia Tech teams. Like, he didn't overly recruit in the DMV. So I don't know. This one was a weird one. And then the other part of this where I'm with you, and I know contract numbers don't matter as much, but like handing him a 6-year deal was like pretty crazy to me too.
Yes.
That's a massive commitment for a program that, I don't know. I guess the program is looking for their Ron Rivera, that they want someone to stabilize the program right now. And I guess Buzz does that, but fine. It just reads to me more of the same. Another Turgeon, another Willard. And to me, I don't see the vision here is what I'm getting at, is what I'm getting at with Buzz.
Yeah, I don't see it either. Well, like, okay, so let's take everybody in College Park at face value. Willard lied, like obviously lied, probably had a deal in place with Villanova for a long time, right? You know, like, but like whatever, he'll never admit that and whatever. He lied on his way out and then, of course, did the crime of firebombing the whole program on his way out, which is the worst that he did that. Tells you everything about who he is. That was really terrible what he did. Okay, so let's say Maryland, let's like from the CBS Sports piece that I read that I thought was very good about it, and a couple major boosters were like, he really fooled us. Like basically was the terminology they used. Like he really pulled one over on us. So let's take that at face value that Maryland thought he wanted more power, he wanted more things, but they were going to make him happy one way or the other. They were going to figure it out, make him happy. He's going to come back. He doesn't. So the whole time they're thinking, yeah, we got a challenger, we got to retain him, but we're in talks with him and we know what he wants and the AD's out. We'll figure it out on his behalf. So I believe that when he walks out the door, how do you hire somebody 2 days later? How do you hire somebody 2 days? I don't care who it is. How do you hire somebody 2 days later? How did you vet this person? Like, what did you do? One Zoom call and offer him a 6-year contract? Like, what? How would that even happen?
Well, yeah, because this was the whole time too. The program is calling foul because Willard lied to them and wouldn't say that he was in or he was out, essentially. And yet you turn around and get this done in 2 days. Like, it reeks to me that you were talking to him before they were bounced from the tournament too. And if you were, fine, like you were getting out ahead of it. But at the same time, you can't tell me that this works both ways as well, that you were talking to Buzz Williams before this was over as well, at least putting feelers out there, because same thing. This is, as I said last segment, about the Albert Haynesworth deal at 12:01. How did you knock the details of that out so fast? Like, you don't get that hot and heavy that quick is what I'm getting at.
He's going to do a press conference, and I hope someone asks him, why do you want this job right now? Not why do you want the job? Because I believe that, like, you know, Maryland is a premier program and that, you know, it should be treated as such. It's in a major conference, has a long history, has Hall of Fame coaches, et cetera, et cetera. All the reasons why I love Maryland basketball. And I think it's a legacy that needs to be rekindled and preserved on some level. And I think he's a very good coach. But I do want to ask him, why in the world would you come here right now and they don't even have an athletic director? You don't even know who the athletic director is going to be. Like, so you don't even know what their plan is. The things that Willard said, there is some validity to some of this stuff, which I think is some of the good things. And I'm like sitting there looking at this going, like, this is not the moment you take this job. You take this job after everything's back in order. Why did he want to come here and do that?
That to me is actually the biggest red flag of this whole situation, is you did this without the AD in place or the new AD in place. Like, this is Dan Snyder hiring Jim Zorn before the head coach. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why did you go ahead and do that? Like, and then all of a sudden, Jim Zorn's the head coach because you don't know how to, like, lay out a program. So I'm not saying it's going to happen here, but, like, like, this is one of those, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works moments.
Right. And that's the biggest problem with it. Like, again, this isn't about Buzz Peterson. He's a good coach. Like, has he won a ton? No. Has he been in places where he could? Arguable, I guess. It's not like Texas A&M's got this vast history of basketball success, or Virginia Tech has a vast history of basketball success. They don't, so like, to be fair to him, it's not like he was coaching Kentucky and North Carolina. I mean, he's done a very good job, and he is a very good coach, and I think he's probably a better in-game coach than Willard is. So it's not like they don't have a good coach here, but the whole setup's off. It happened too fast. They didn't take a breath. They felt embarrassed. They felt some kind of weird pressure. They did exactly what Len told them not to do, which is don't just do some headline grabbing name mercenary coach, which is exactly what they did. Because a fair criticism of him is he's going to come in and say, I want to be here forever. He's never been anywhere forever. And by year 3, he's always itching to go somewhere else. Why would this be any different?
Right. No, that's exactly right. Like, it's just one that doesn't feel, it feels like it's more of the same. That's the problem with it for me.
Yes, it does. I'll see what he has to say. I'm a sucker. I'll be rooting for the program. I think they're going to have a hard time fielding, a really competitive team this year because they're way behind the 8 ball. And who's been doing the recruiting anyway? There's nobody there to do it, right, since the portal opened. So we'll see. And, obviously a couple of the other prominent players from this team that had eligibility have left. I assume Derek Queen's going to go pro. Couple of the other prominent ones have already hit the portal. Suck to watch that. And I would say this for Buzz, line up the Villanova Maryland game down here because I think people will be interested in going to that.
Yeah.
Be very interested.
100%. Yep.
All right. Let me take a quick break. Brave Watch the Show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. March Madness is here, and every game has a chance to cash in. From the first tip-off to the Final Four, every night promises high-stakes matchups, wild finishes, big-time betting opportunities. And MyBookie's Bet and Get is back to sweeten the deal. Place a cash bet on March Madness and get a surprise reward. Free bets, cash back, bonus clips. You never know what's coming next. Whether it's a number 1 seed rolling or an underdog shocking the world, smart bettors know the real money is made one game at a time. Listen up. Sign up now with promo code MM50, and you can boost your bankroll with a deposit bonus designed to help you make the most of your money. If you don't want a bonus, that's okay too. Just make sure you let them know that we sent you. Bet on every game, anytime, from anywhere, only with MyBookie. Use promo code MM50. All right, welcome back. All right, tell me, Ryan Leonard makes his debut. His collegiate career finally comes to an end before BC gets to the Frozen Four. A day later, they've got a contract with him. And a day after that, has he practiced at all ever with the Capitals? Plays against the Boston Bruins.
So he did go in morning skate yesterday. So as we were recording, he was skating with the team for the first time. And look, I'll say this. What jumped out at me right away was Spencer Carberry put him right in the top 6. You don't see this with rookies often. Usually they're eased in the bottom 6, but he put him on a line with Dylan Strome and Alexei Protas, 2 of the most consistent players on this team this season, and he fit right in. His first shift of the game, he touched the puck. He didn't get the shot off, but he looked like he belonged. My biggest thing yesterday was how physical he was going to be. He was laying the lumber on dudes in game number 1. I was shocked to see that, honestly. Guys that usually are very physical in the juniors and in college, it usually takes them a little bit to ease up and get that physical. He stepped right in, laid some big hits on the Bruins yesterday. He fit right in. He looks like an NHLer. I'm glad to see it because we've been hyping him up for a couple years. Had a couple of chances to make some plays. If you watched the game last night too, Dylan Strome did score goal number 3. He was out on the ice for that in front of the net, mucking it up a little bit. He looked like he belonged. And what I actually found was shocking yesterday was Spencer Carberry could say, oh, he's going to be on a line with Protas and Strome. You and I know how this works, though. He could have played the first 2 shifts with those guys, then been brought back down into the bottom 6, which is actually what I thought was going to happen. Yeah. He stayed up there the whole entire time. There was a little bit of line blending that happened because he wanted to get some things going. But for the most part, he stayed on the top 6, and he looked the part, man. Like I will say, he was pretty damn good. Kind of, I wouldn't say exceeded expectations, but was on par with all the expectations that he had. And then it was really cool pregame. He had his Boston College teammates there wearing his jersey and like cheering him on. So really kind of like a storybook start to his career. And now let's get it really going here after you get your debut underway.
Who was the odd man out for him to put him in?
It was Radish. So, which is pretty much one of the guys that I had predicted. It was going to be one of those bottom 6 guys. Then he bumped everyone down. And yesterday too, this was interesting. He had Connor McMichael in the 3rd line, then bumped him down on the 4th line. And that wasn't a disparaging thing to McMichael. That was just let's see if you can get it going. And the 4th line looked pretty good, actually. So this is exactly why I wanted Ryan Leonard in this lineup. It slots everybody down. And all of a sudden, all 4 lines, became a little bit of a threat. Granted, I would have liked them to play a little bit better against the Bruins, but you're starting to figure it out. They get Carolina tonight, second half of a back-to-back, so we'll see. But I really want to see what they do against Chicago over the weekend. That's a bad team that I want to see them, actually do some work against.
They got out 2-0 last night through 1. I saw the OV goal, which great tip pass from Dylan Strome for like a layup in front of the net.
Yeah.
That was 5-on-5, right? That wasn't on the power play, right?
No, it was
power
play. Was power play.
Oh, power play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got a gimme, but now it's 4 away. They did get I thought played great. I saw most of the first period, and then I was in and out for the second and third periods. I didn't catch it. I saw that Boston came back. Third period, this was nice to see again. They hit the end. Like there were a couple a few weeks ago, that was like every game was like they were kind of toying around with people, and then they hit the gas in the third period. They did that again after they blew the lead. So that was a good sign too.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And with Ovi too, don't disparage, he's 4 away from the record. That was goal 38 on the year. He's 2 away from 40 at this age. It's so utterly ridiculous.
And he broke his leg.
Right.
And he broke his leg.
Correct. And so it's just, I want to say we have to keep kind of zooming out on Ovi on what he's doing. It's amazing. And then last night too, Tom Wilson gets the game winner, and it was like a timely game winner. He scores to make it 4-2. David Pastrnak turns around and makes it 4-3. They hold on to get the victory against them. That was a big goal for them too. Wilson might be one of the most underrated players in the league at this moment in time. So, and here's the thing with Ovechkin too. He's within 4. He needs to get 1 more. And then you and I have seen so much from Ovechkin. He could do it in 1 game to get that hat trick. He loves to turn it on when he gets in striking distance of these records. So if he gets 1 tonight, watch out Chicago over the weekend. We could see him turn it on into another level.
This is the Commanders. It's like everything they did's a hit. Everything. Chychrun turned out to be freaking amazing. The goaltenders had a career year. They had young guys like Protas have career years, right when they needed him to. Pierre-Luc Dubois felt like a total reach. Totally fit and been great. Then Leonard plays college hockey a week ago, comes in here, and it's like he totally fits in. It's like they can't do anything wrong this year. So let's see how far it goes. Look like they win something like this tonight. I mean, they're screaming towards the 1 seed. So let's see how far this thing goes.
Yeah, if you want my one little thing that I'm worried about, it is Logan Thompson. He has, I wouldn't say regressed, but he has not been making the big saves you expect a number 1 goaltender to make. Lindgren got the start last night. It is my one storyline that we're paying attention to. I think they're going to start Thompson no matter what in the playoffs. He just has not looked himself over the last 2-3 weeks. He was in that 8-5 game against Buffalo. I'm sorry, 8 goals against anybody is a little crazy for your goaltender. So that's my one little asterisk that we're doing here moving forward is let's see how the goaltending shakes out. But at the same time, I'm not overly panicking about this either. They are toying with teams. They are in first place. Let's just see how it happens down the stretch.
All right, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. Bram on the show is being 6:30 the Sports Cab.